Yeah, it is too late.
You passed that point a long time ago.
Decades ago.
'Cause perpetuating lies and deception
They're good at that.
is the only thing that you seem to know.
A lot of practice.
And you thought that you'd be safe in your tower.
Yeah, you thought so.
Isolated from the people below.
Yeah, the peons, the goyim.
The truth has undermined your foundation.
Yep.
By so many people now in the know.
More and more of them.
You thought that you'd see the day that you could just get away from the ones you betrayed, who raised their voices to say you won't be trusted anymore.
Whoa. Man, those lyrics ring true more and more every day that passes. Good morning. Good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're situated on this great, big, beautiful blue globe floating through the void of Yah's creation. Oh, man, it's a Wednesday, the 11th of February, 2026, and these are the WTF reports. I'm vonKleist, your host, and yes, WTF with the facts, with the audio receipts. And if those receipts, and if those facts, as they become overwhelming, an insurmountable amount of information, like a tidal wave of truth. And if that truth, and if those facts make you exclaim WTF, well then so be it. And it's not like we don't have enough legitimate reason. More and more stuff is happening every single day. I mean, this is an amazing time to be alive. It really is. I mean, you know, we're not just talking about the Epstein stuff, but we will be talking about the Epstein stuff today. Absolutely. But it's not just that. No, it's the economy. It's the global collapse, the U.S. dollar collapsing in real time. It's happening. And in the meantime, yeah, Representative Tim Burchett was talking about, yes, the aliens are real. Yes, there are extraterrestrials, interdimensional beings. Yes, there really, really are huge underwater bases in the deep ocean. Yes. I mean, all of this stuff, all conspiracy theory. Oh gosh, if you're still screaming conspiracy theory, time to raise your hand way up high. Let yourself be counted and now slap yourself stupid with it. Oh my gosh, it's just amazing, just amazing. Of course, Candace Owens and Sean from The People's Voice, they have been digging and digging and digging into Erica Franzvy Kirk, and what do you know? There are connections. Everything is connected. Erica, let's see, there's the Romanian Angels. Remember that? The little thing that was, shall we say, a brothel in Romania, along with some members of the military, connected to the Ukraine, which has been trafficking children. And by the way, there's a report that the Russian troops intercepted a shipment, get this, of adrenochrome, a huge shipment. And it was going from Israel to Hollywood. Whoa, okay, that's what's being reported. I'm not hanging my head on that, but I saw that earlier and I went, oh my gosh, I have no reason not to believe it. Because, I mean, after all, war creates a lot of orphans, shall we say. Yeah, how convenient for that. And then there's the issue about the Palestinians. That's another issue altogether. I'm telling you, it's all connected. And the revelations that people are having to deal with right now, I mean, my gosh, there are people all across this country who are losing their minds. They're having to face the unavoidable and irrefutable truth that people who they revered, people who they respected, people who they admired, they adored, and now they're finding out that these people are absolute monsters, demons. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I saw somebody post something. They got themselves a thermal scope. You know, I mean, you've heard like some people who have, firearms or something. You have a laser scope or you have a infrared, a scope. Well, the thermal scope lets you see heat signatures. And apparently, this woman took a thermal scope And she was outside of the royal palace, and you could see her panning around, and you could see the glowing of people who were walking around, because of people have body heat, of course. But then she focused the scope over onto the guards at the palace, and you could see the guard, but there was no thermal signature. They had no body heat. How do you figure that one? I don't know. There's some weird stuff going on, folks. It's all coming to a head. Anyway, I don't even know where to start today. My heart goes out to all of the people out there who for all these years have denied and denied and denied that any of this stuff, the Pizzagate, are you crazy? That was debunked a long time ago. Oh, by the way, the reporter who debunked it got busted for pornography and child rape. Yeah. Birds of a feather, I guess. But anyway, I'm just watching this insanity unfold, and I don't know. I'm gobsmacked. I really am. So anyway, everybody's taking a look now at Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, all the other people who are involved in the cover-up, shall we say? Oh gosh, I don't even know where to start. Representative, what's her name here? It is, Pramila Jayapal. Now, she's a diehard Democrat. And I have to say, all through this past 10 years, we all know, this is why it's Red State Talk Radio. Okay, we know that the liberal Democrats, and she's right in the front. She's, not part of the squad, but she's, in the wings. I don't agree with much of what she has to do. She's always trying to play partisan politics. It's those bad, Trump tards, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, she was speaking at a press conference, and I have to say, I have to agree with her. And here's what she had to contribute. This is at a press conference outside of the Capitol with a lot of the Epstein victims right behind her. Listen to what she had to say.
Yesterday, I spent several hours at the Department of Justice looking through the unredacted files and reading the absolutely horrific and depraved messages that went back and forth between rich and powerful people in every sphere of influence. These people are at the top of governments, academic institutions, billionaires at giant corporations, cabinet secretaries, and the callous depravity of their messages showed that they absolutely believed that they were above the law, above morals, absolutely immune to any societal norms. They joked in these emails about pedophiles, about horrific sexual acts with young girls, about creating spaces, entire islands even, where they could do anything they wanted and get away with it because of their wealth, their power, and their connections. This was a massive global sex trafficking ring with thousands of victims that we know of and thousands more that we probably don't. So when DOJ says that there is nothing to investigate, we, the American people, must rise up. We must allow the courage and the determination of the survivors who have spoken out at great risk to themselves to push us to never give up until every single one of these predators and pedophiles and predator protectors is brought to justice. It is the voices of the survivors ringing through in the darkness of all of this horror that has gotten us this far. And in speaking to so many of them myself, I know that this effort is not just for them. They're not doing this just for them. They're doing it for their girls, for their children, for other people who have been affected, to all the survivors of sexual assault everywhere across the world who are watching to see if we can get accountability right here in the United States of America. Many rich and powerful people thought over the decades that they got away with this. They definitely did. You can see it in the emails. But as Lauren said to me the other day, the earth is shaking. Because every single one of them now is becoming known. And around the world, princes, ambassadors, even prime ministers are being brought down for their participation in this global sex trafficking ring.
Indeed. Yes, it's rippling across the entire globe. And as Representative Jayapal said, she's been in discussion with Bobart, and who's a Republican. So the point is that this issue is starting to bring the left and the right together. Thank God. Now, there are still some out there that want to play partisan politics. You know, I saw a comment by... what's her name? Oh, I hate it when that happens. Anyway, the point is that there are still representatives, out there that are trying to play partisan politics and say, oh, it's Trump. Yes, it was Trump Trump was involved. Yeah, okay. It's both sides. And I have to stop and think, is Trump really playing 5D chess here? I'm vacillating because sometimes a lot of people were on board with him during the campaign. Of course we were on board to get all this stuff out there. And then he flip-flopped. And he basically said, are we still talking about the Epstein stuff? Yeah, and they're trying to get everybody to move on. Well, maybe he did that to make everybody start digging in on it. Yeah, maybe, he played a reverse psychology. I don't know. But the bottom line here is that I'm starting to look at some of the stuff here, and when he says do this and everybody's pissed off at him, if he says do this, then people are going to do that. You know what I'm saying? So I think maybe there may be some reverse psychology being played here. I don't know. But there was another representative. Let me see. This was posted by Susie Rizzio, and I'm trying to remember who this representative is, what's her name, but I'm going to play what she said anyway in a press conference. Here it is.
And one of the lines that the survivor shared with me early in the many meetings we've had, and it's chilling. It's a chilling warning that Jeffrey told them. He gave them this warning.
Listen to this.
He told the women and young girls, I have the government, I have the banks. In other words, you are powerless. Imagine hearing that from the man who abused you.
Okay, I'm going to pause it for a second. He said, I have the government, I have the banks. Now, let's stop and think a little bit. Who or what group controls the banks? Without even saying it, I think I know you. I think you know the answer to that. What group has been controlling our government? And I think you know the answer to that, too. I'll let her continue. Just put the puzzle pieces together, connect the dots. You got it.
Imagine being a young girl, a young woman already traumatized and being told that the system, the government, the institutions, the courts, the powerful are on his side. That he and those to whom you were trafficked are untouchable. That the world is made up of the powerful who are above the law, above reproach, and you are disposable as a mere object of sexual use and abuse. And for too long, those sexual predators have been protected by their wealth and power. And now, with the help of Donald Trump and Pam Bondi, the pedophiles and sexual predators are being protected by our government. But today, we're one step closer to proving Epstein wrong. It takes years for victims of abuse to feel safe enough to come forward, and time should never be a weapon in the abuser's arsenal. Virginia's law eliminates the statute of limitations for key federal civil claims brought by survivors of trafficking and sexual exploitation. It includes a look-back window, so survivors who were previously barred, who were told, no, you do not have access to the courtroom, so they have time to now go back and seek justice. And it clarifies that traffickers cannot escape accountability by committing abuses in another jurisdiction. You don't get to escape prosecution by simply putting predators and victims on a plane to a private island or a mansion in Florida or a ranch in New Mexico. Because justice should not depend on a calendar. Justice should not depend on geography. And it should never depend on how powerful your abuser is.
Wow. And it's not just the Epstein Island, folks. It's the Zorro Ranch. You hear about that? Yeah, they need to send some teams in there because there are some of those emails that mention all the bodies and all of the victims. Their bodies are out there somewhere. It's either that or the bodies were treated. Yeah, there's some of the Epstein files in there that talk about sulfuric acid. Yes, 55-gallon drums of sulfuric acid to eliminate the bodies. This is some deep stuff, folks. Absolute deep stuff. And let me see. I have a bunch of clips here. There was one woman that was just losing it. She was just crying because she can't handle this stuff. And there's a lot of people out there that are going through the same thing. And anyway, here's an audio clip. She called this a trigger warning. Listen to this clip. Oh my gosh.
Major trigger warning. If you're not going through the files, I am. And here are some of the most disturbing things I have seen. They trafficked little girls. They got them pregnant. They took their babies. They starved the babies, made them very thirsty, and then they put their in their mouths because they knew the babies would suck harder. They joke about cream cheese. They are referring to breast milk in the intestines tasting good because they ate them. Well, actually, they were probably eating their own as well. All of our children are accessible to all of these predators because their school photos were handed over to... Yeah, MAGA, your kids were handed over too. They wrote emails back and forth like, got a good 10-year-old, got a good 8-year-old, virgin, just your style, you want it? But the satisfying part here, the most disturbing part, is that Pam Bondi, Donald Trump, Kash Patel, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Dan Bongino, Steve Miller, Bannon, all these people and the 1,000 FBI agents that redacted the files, they know who all these perpetrators are. They know that children were killed, buried, put in the water, put in fields. They know where they are. They know who the perpetrators are, and they redacted their names. And they are sitting around eating their dinner right now, knowing the names of the people who did this. And no one in America is pressing charges or doing anything, but dozens of other countries are. Who was cooking the meals? Who was the staff? Who are the people that could speak up?
Who are these people on the sidelines? Because there's got to be a lot of them. Yeah, there are a lot of them. Oh, man. Okay, let me see. There's another comment here from Representative Becca Ballint, Ballint. Yeah, they're all speaking out. They're all chiming in. Here's what she had to say. Again, this is Representative Becca Ballint.
I've tried to shoot a video now probably a dozen times trying to tell you about what I saw in the Epstein files. And honestly, it's just so depraved and it's sick and it's not a cabal. It's so much bigger than a cabal. It is a vast network of rich and powerful people believing they can do whatever they want.
Okay, hear her voice cracking. I mean, this is bringing people to tears.
To girls and women. And I just want to do right by the survivors. When I go before Pam Bondi tomorrow in judiciary, I want to do right by the survivors. And that's weighing on me because they've been so ill-treated for so long. And we have a responsibility to show up for them with everything we've got. With everything we've got.
It's really sad because a lot of these very, very young children, this is the only life they know. This is disgusting, really disgusting. And and so a lot of people now are looking, like I said, at Kash Patel, Pam Bondi. Hey, Pam Bondi, people are starting to dig up a whole bunch of stuff about Pam Bondi. She, by the way, before she was Attorney General, she worked for Pfizer. Did you know that? Yep, she worked for Pfizer. Do a little bit of research on that. But there's another connection that Pam Bondi has with a guy named Keith Frankel. Listen to this.
Oh, hi, Pam Bondi. What are you doing with Keith Frankel? I have a couple questions for you, Pam. How much were the acting lessons?
Ooh.
Do the Epstein victims that you cried with know that you're friends with Keith Frankel?
Who's Keith Frankel?
Why was Keith Frankel and Jeffrey Epstein talking about body boxes on February 10th, 2010?
Wait a second. Body boxes in an email in 2010? Who is this guy, Keith Frankel, in touch with Jeffrey Epstein in 2010 about body boxes? Ooh. I hit the wrong button. I got to start it over again. Let's start over. Here we go.
Hi, Pam Bondi.
Hi.
What are you doing with Keith Frankel? I have a couple questions for you, Pam. How much were the acting lessons? Do the Epstein victims that you cried with know that you're friends with Keith Frankel? Why was Keith Frankel and Jeffrey Epstein talking about body boxes on February 10th, 2010? You've read the files, so I'm sure you can tell us. If Jeffrey Epstein was such a monster, Pam, how come Keith went to his house so many times? One thing that was mentioned in the Epstein files is children being trafficked out of Ukraine.
Ukraine, there's a
Keith
connection.
Frankel and his family run a children's home that takes children out of Ukraine. You need to cut the shit, Pam. You need to cut the shit.
Whoa. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. Oh, my gosh. And there's a company, by the way, one of the things that's been uncovered, there's a company called the CYM Caring Group. And one of these files, the CYM Caring Group, what they do is they manufacture adrenochrome. Oh, yes, they do. As a matter of fact, there's a sheet here that shows... Okay, wait a minute. Get rid of that sound. Get rid of that sound. I don't want to hear that. Okay. This is scary stuff, folks. CYM Corporation, and it has a list of all of the different shipments of adrenochrome and the sources of that adrenochrome, the ages of the children that were used to produce the adrenochrome. And let me see, the average age here on one shipment, the average age of children that were used to produce this batch of adrenochrome, the average age was 8 years and 4 months. And you go down the age list, and most of these kids were 8 years old, 9 years old, 9 years old, 9 years old, 8 years old. Just listen. Oh, here's one child was 10 years and 3 months. I mean, this is insanity. This is sick. This is madness, and this is what we're dealing with. Oh, my gosh. Now, okay, I'm going to keep this one for a little while, but, this issue about Pam Bondi, she's got her fingers in a bunch of stuff. And what is she doing? Bondi is testifying, and she's basically trying to desperately to get redirect the topic of conversation. This is how she was handling it when she was being grilled before Congress. Listen to what she's saying here.
The Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is...
Yeah, she was talking to Jamie Raskin there. He started to laugh. Well, I could understand why he started to laugh. This is a blatant redirect. She doesn't want to talk about the Epstein stuff. She wants to talk about how great we're doing. Yeah, we're going to pat ourselves on the back. Look at the economy. Look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Yeah, but let's not talk about the Epstein stuff anymore. I wonder why.
Over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about.
Oh.
We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking...
Whoa, let's stop right there. Making Americans safe. How are we going to do that if we ignore what's going on with the abduction and the torture and the rape and the murder and the cannibalism of children? You want to make America safe by focusing on the Dow Jones and NASDAQ. Yeah, right.
What does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Mr. Jordan, Mr. Jordan.
Are you kidding? She's trying to grab the steering wheel and take the whole thing in a different direction. This is crazy. This is just nuts. Anyway, quick break. Here we go.
Get More Tank will save you money every month on gas. Get More Tank is a tablet with active ingredients that adds big mileage to every tank. Made in America, the Get More Tank formula is used by trucking companies and heavy industry. Now the Get More Tank formula is available to you. Get More Tank works in any gas or diesel engine, cleans your engine, lowers emissions, and you'll feel improved engine performance every time you step on the gas. Get More Tank works for cars, trucks, boats, motorcycles, four-wheelers, mowers, and blowers. Hey, if you got an engine, then Get More Tank. Contractors, electricians, plumbers, painters, and lawn service companies, Get More Tank will save you money and extend the life of your engines. If you're an owner-operator running your big rig around the town or across the country, Get More Tank will save you money too. If you're a farmer, all of your equipment can use Get More Tank. A 5-pack on sale at GetMoreTank.com for just $22.22 plus shipping. Use the promo code REDPILL101 and get 10% off. Save your money, save your engine, save the earth at GetMoreTank.com. Get More Tank is EPA registered, doesn't void warranties, results vary.
And as always, you can get more Tank if you visit our website. Please do so, TheWTFReports.com. Don't forget the, T-H-E. A lot of people forget to do that. I can't find you. You got to put the, T-H-E, TheWTFReports.com. And you click on the sponsors button. It'll take you down to a page where you can read about the specifications and details of Get More Tank. Why this fuel catalyst works so well. No matter what your vehicle is, and it's either gas or diesel, makes no difference. This is a fuel catalyst that makes your fuel burn more efficiently, which means your engine burns cleaner, it gets more power, and the bonus is after a few tanks, your engine makes the adjustment and likes what's going on. And the result is better mileage, anywhere between 15 and 20% better mileage, depending upon your make, model, year of vehicle, and your driving habits, of course. So it doesn't make sense not to use Get More Tank. And I stand by this. I've been using it for 2 years, and I got to tell you, I don't worry about the engine. I have some other issues. I got a brake issue. Okay, that's got nothing to do with it. But this engine runs great, and yours will too. So go to our website, TheWTFReports.com, click on the sponsors page, and get more Tank. All right, continuing on with the topic here, and I'm not going to let this go. I mean, Candace Owens has been just glued on the Charlie Kirk assassination and the investigation, as are many other independent investigators. And, she's uncovering a huge amount of data in regard to that and the ties of the perpetrators. And I'm telling you, it wasn't Tyler Robinson. No, we all know that. Anyway, I'm focusing in on this stuff with the trafficking, because this is, and again, my own personal experience with this goes all the way back to the late 90s and early 2000s when I became friends with Ted Gunderson. And your regular listeners know that he and I had many hours of discussions, because we were speakers at engagements all over the country, and we'd end up at the same hotel room, and we'd end up after the event, sitting there having a bite to eat and a drink and sitting there talking about this stuff for hours and hours. And it is heartbreaking. It turns your stomach. And this is, like I said, one of the contributory reasons why my head exploded. I could not accept that this evil existed. Eventually I did. And when you do, and you try to express what you've learned with other people who have you never been exposed to this, again, they think you're nuts. They think you're crazy. You end up being, ostracized and condemned and, doxxed and, shadow banned, whatever. And so I went through this stuff, a couple of decades ago. So I understand what a lot of these people are going through right now. And it's not easy. It is not easy to accept, like I was saying a few minutes ago, that the people that you trusted, the people you revered and you admired, you find out that they have been betraying you and stabbing you in the back the whole time. It's just incredible. But anyway, let's see. I've got another here. There's a woman here that is basically looking at this whole thing and say, wait a second. Is a 5D chess game going on? Is it possible that maybe Trump is doing this on purpose? He says, are we still talking about this Epstein guy? And like I said, if he says, let's stop doing it, everybody started doing it. And what do you know? They start finding out more stuff. Let's see what this woman has to say. This is posted by Don't Stop Believing 61.
This should make really good sense to you after this is over. Guys, I've been seeing it on Instagram and people on X and even on here talking, and they're kind of upset that President Trump would even suggest that you stop talking about the files, the Epstein files. And he keeps saying it. And why do you think that is? This is what you call the art of war, guys. He knows that whatever he says, people will do the opposite. Keep talking about the files. Keep researching. And the people that you think that would never wake up start digging and researching. And then they start sharing with other people. And those people start digging and researching. Just like a lot of you have. You've had someone talk to you. Guys, this is so classic. And people are getting pissed off because they don't understand the art of war. All he has to do is say something that will throw a monkey wrench into what people think he should never say. And he does it for that specific reason. He wants you to keep talking about them. So keep talking. Because you never know who may start researching and looking on their own that you thought would never listen. He's a genius. This is the total art of war.
Interesting.
So enjoy it. Don't get mad.
Don't get mad.
Just watch people that you know wake up slowly and then share with other people. And those people share with other people.
Yeah. Interesting. That's interesting. You know, so maybe we are all being, I don't know, manipulated. Well, there's no doubt that we are. But, you know, on one hand, it's a love, hate. So I don't know. Anyway, we got a caller on the line here. Let's see. Hello, Cynthia. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Now for something completely different.
Oh, you're going to grab the steering wheel again? Go ahead.
Well, I keep catching these ads by somebody named Whitney Tilson, who says that the federal government is going to begin selling large, humongous tracts of land to large firms. He's saying beginning maybe March 31st.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked at the government website, and I don't see any impending sales. But what if these are hidden from the general public? And one of the major issues is that the Constitution got ignored over many generations, and there is no federal lands that belongs to the federal government. Those under the Constitution were to be surrendered to the states when the states were carved out of territories. But just think about, what was that, Uranium One, where Hillary Hildebeest okayed the sale of uranium.
Yeah, 20% of our uranium to Russia. Yeah, I remember that.
Right, totally treasonous and totally unconstitutional.
Absolutely.
And so this is a chance to network with your liberal friends, your environmentalists, who did not understand that the environmental movement was actually to encumber your land so the federal government could control it. Say, hey, look, they're going to sell off federal lands, but these aren't actually federal lands. These are state lands where you can get more control locally, because it actually depends on how your state constitution is written, whether those, quote, federal lands belong to the county they're in or to the.
Okay, well, what's the bottom line? Where are we going with this part of the conversation here? As I want to get back on track here.
I want to link people who are conservative MAGA in with liberal people who need to be with the Constitution. And that's your anchor is, what do you mean we're going to sell this land to big companies? This land belongs to the people. It's not to be sold off to pay off a national debt that's constitutes unconstitutional spending where we transferred money to other countries?
Well, I got to be honest, I don't know if that's really going to end up happening. I really have a lot of faith in the fact that the executive orders that Trump signed back in his first term, Executive Order 13848 and 13818, I think that they're both going to be coming into play very soon. Okay, one, of course, has to do with crimes against humanity, which would include this sex trafficking, and the other executive order has to do with voter fraud, and that's being exposed as well. So, and I think, and any of the perpetrators can have all of their assets seized. Wow! So that may come into play with the topic that you're bringing into the conversation here. But anyway, Cynthia, I want to get back on track. I got a bunch of stuff I got to get to today. So.
Thank you.
All right,
Bye.
thank you, dear. Bye-bye. So, you bring up a couple of good points, and we'll just have to see how that's going to play out. But I don't know. I think we've got other fish to fry right now, and I think that, like I just said, the executive orders may kick in there because a lot of these people, like Bill Gates, has purchased so much farmland. I mean, we're talking hundreds of thousands of acres. And if he owns all that acreage, and he has found that he has been guilty of crimes against humanity, R.E., the jabadoo, the hokey-pokey thingy-dingy, and he has all of his assets seized, well, that might play into what you were talking about there, Cynthia. Anyway, getting back on track here, you just heard one woman was talking about 5D chess, which may be happening. And let's face it, folks, now we're starting to find out that all this crazy wackadoodle stuff that we've been hearing about, all the crazy conspiracy theorists saying, that's not the real Joe Biden. Yeah, you're a conspiracy theorist. They're wearing a mask. It's central casting. That's a conspiracy theory. You're stupid. Well, guess what? Now we're starting to find out that did happen. And there are folks out there, the Q posts and people out there that were posting that the military tribunals have been going on. I remember Derek Johnson was talking about military tribunals, 4 years ago? 5 years ago? Something like that. And we were saying, what? We'd be hearing about that, But you know what? Maybe they're right. Maybe they have been going on all this time. I don't know. Here's someone who posted on that exact topic. Here it is.
This comment right here, she's correct. There's a handful of reporters taken to Gitmo to report the trials, and they will be told when to release what happened. Absolutely. They went over there years ago, about around 2020. They've been over there ever since, and they've been recording all the tribunals that are taking place. It is on video. It will be shown to people. You have to have trust and faith in our military. I know there's a lot of corrupt ones. There's also a lot of good ones that are involved in this military operation. So the videos will be shown. They have to slowly roll stuff out. The e-files are out now. It states right in it that was not Biden. There was central casting, wearing a mask. It will slowly get rolled out for the people that are still sleeping, that don't believe us. People like me. Okay?
Okay. Yeah. It is. It's I don't know what to say. I'm thrilled that a lot of this stuff is coming out. But I got to tell you, there's just people out there that are just, like I said, they're broken. They're absolutely gobsmacked. And they don't know how to handle it. And here's one post asking the question, are you mad enough? Yeah, what's it going to take for America to get off of their big fat pimple-covered butt and get involved with this? Spreading the word. Oh, well, it's going across the country like a huge tidal wave.
I'm confused on why we're still watching the fucking Grammys and attending the fucking Super Bowl and watching the Super Bowl. Like, no one is mad enough. No one is angry enough. Those are babies. Those are babies and those are children, and that's all they ever fucking knew. No one is mad enough.
This is what we're getting. People are posting all over social media. They're breaking down. They're freaking out. Because they're finding out that everything that we told you about all those months and months and years and decades ago, turns out it was true. And you find out that everything you believed in is a lie. That's hard for a lot of people to take. I mean, you listeners on this network, you and I are accustomed to it, and we're still having to deal with it. But I mean, a lot of these people that are just now discovering this destroys their entire world. It really does. And there's a couple of years ago, there was a woman by the name of Laura Aboli, and I've seen this post in on several different social media platforms, and they usually have some music behind it. And by the way, for those of you who produce these posts and you put music behind it, turn the freaking music down. Sometimes the music and the spooky music is so loud you can't hear what the person is saying. And that was the case with this particular audio clip from Laura Aboli. I've heard this before, but again, the music was so doggone loud I couldn't use the clip. Well, I found a clip now that has no music behind it at all. Again, this was Laura Aboli speaking at the... It was called let me see, where is it here? Oh, yeah, the Better Way Conference. And she said this back in 2023. Yeah, 3 years ago. And it's true then, and it's true now. And this is, again, if you hear what she's saying and put yourself in the mindset of the, uninformed, 3 years ago, I mean, it would sound like absolute insanity. This woman's crazy. She's out of her mind. This is the epitome of every conspiracy theory I've ever heard. She can't be right. And now people are listening a second time because they have to. Listen to this. This is Laura Aboli back in 2023.
Make no mistake. The final goal is to eradicate humanity as we know it. Once you understand the final destination, it becomes much easier to look back and identify the psychological conditioning, the biological tampering, the cultural grooming, and the educational prepping that we have been subjected to for decades in preparation to making us accept a post-human future. It takes a lot of physical and psychological abuse to get an intelligent species like ours to agree to its own extinction. Most, if not all, that has transcended in the last 60 years was designed to get us closer to accepting such a dystopian reality. Whether you care to accept it or not, we live in a hyper-controlled matrix where our perception of reality is meticulously planned, managed, and executed in order to control and steer us in whichever direction they wish. And the direction is a post-human world. For this, they first needed to destabilize, dehumanize, and demoralize humanity through every means possible. The destruction of the nuclear family, children being indoctrinated by the state, abortion, the eradication of God and spirituality from education, life in mega cities and away from nature, toxic food, air and water, social media, replacing real human connection and interaction, engineered financial crisis and taxation, endless wars and massive migration, stress, anxiety, depression, drugs and alcohol, constant fear-mongering, moral relativism as the new religion, and I could go on and on about how humanity has been influenced and forced to move away from all the things that give us strength, security, purpose, and meaning. A weak, immoral, disconnected, ignorant, and unhealthy population is an easy target for the next stage, the creation of an entire generation of androgynous beings. Masculinity is under attack psychologically, culturally, and biologically. Women are being replaced in sports, entertainment, and politics by men pretending to be women. And children are being indoctrinated at school to think that gender is a choice. The transgender movement is not a grassroots movement. It comes from the top. It has nothing to do with people's freedom of expression, sexuality, or civil rights. It's an psyop with a clear agenda to get us closer to transhumanism by making us question the most fundamental notion of human identity, our gender.
Boy, that's some scary stuff, don't you think? And again, we have to ask the question, if that's the direction that we've been pushed in that direction, we have to ask the question, who's behind the steering wheel? Who's doing this to society? Now, I played a clip just a few minutes ago, and Epstein had said to one of his victims, we control the banks and control the government. Now, who is he talking about? Who was he working for? And I think we all know. Connect the dot. It's one big blue dot. It's, and a lot of people say, you can't point a finger. I don't have to. They're exposing themselves. And that's exactly what has to happen. So, again, you have to consider where it's all coming from. Now, I got a couple of other clips here. I try to edit these out because there's a lot of them that have, shall we say, a lot of F-bombs. Now, on television, we've heard people say bullshit. We've heard that before. So if that word comes across, I don't worry too much about that. But that other word I'm not too crazy about. But anyway, let me see. As far as, all of the people out there that are just now starting to wake up, and like I said, you're hearing very tearful posts because their entire schema of the world has been shaken down to the very foundation. And I don't blame them for not knowing what to do or who to believe or which direction to take. But this is why, folks, you've got to reach out to your local conspiracy theorist, because we've been right for so many years, over and over and over again. We take the crap. We take the flack. We take the hits. We take the insults. We take the deplatforming. We take the alienation. We take it all. And you got to understand that there's no joy in I told you so for either party. We're not in this for one-upmanship. It's just about getting the truth out, as John Lennon said. Yeah, that's all we want. That's all we want, folks. It's not hard. It's really not hard at all. But the point is like I said, we've been taking hits all these years, all these decades. And now people are starting to finally say, you know what? You were right.
I want to make it very clear that there are a large number of us who have known that this has been going on for almost a decade. We are the ones who were ostracized. We were the ones who were told we were conspiracy theorists.
I want to correct that. It's not just a decade. It goes back for decades, plural. And that's, that was some of the things that I had to deal with way back when, it first hit me in the late 80s, early 90s. So, we've got a long, long history of having to deal with this. I'll let this continue.
We were the ones who were told we were crazy and had relationships end because of these very details. I want to make it very clear because I'm seeing so many videos right now about this whole Epstein thing. Some of us had our lives completely demolished just for speaking up for the children. When I started speaking out about the importance of sunlight, instead of getting a shot, recognizing that the people you claim to love and worship are not who you think they are, the fact that 300,000 children have gone missing in 1 year in one country, and apparently no one knows what happened to them. Just because I was using my First Amendment right to speak out, I was ostracized. I was blacklisted. I was thrown into the gutters of social media, having to start over again from scratch, which my small business was attached to. So hence, I also had to close my small business. As grateful as I am that there are so many people now being able to speak out about this freely, I do ask that all of you do one very important thing, because it does matter. Thank your local conspiracy theorist. Thank them. And next time, I hope you choose to listen or research something yourself long before it becomes trendy to talk about. If you're wondering why I'm not making more videos on the Epstein list, is because I've said everything that I've wanted to say 7 years ago. Now I'm going to allow the rest of you the time you need to wake up, to see it for yourself, to finally accept it as truth, because it's not coming from my mouth, but from the mouth of social media or mainstream media. And it's so unfortunate. Let that also be one more lesson to take home. Mainstream media will not tell you the truth until they are forced to. Trust your local conspiracy theorist. Thank them. Apologize to them. Because I'll tell you right now, we are all not surprised. But we could really see at this moment who is truly awake and who's still hiding behind the shame, behind the pride. And yes, I know some of you might want to look at this video and say, you need to be talking more about the victims. We are, but the victim list extended the moment that some of us decided to talk about it too soon. The major thing that I care about the most, that I've been caring about the most, is when is it going to stop? When is it going to change? When are the people who are responsible for this going to be held accountable? And until then, I'm not allowing my energy to be siphoned off by the mainstream media. And I suggest you don't either. That was my heart to heart. I love you. You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, it's not easy, folks. And by the way, this morning, while I was getting ready for the show, I was watching the live coverage of the congressional hearings, and Pam Bondi was being asked questions by Representative, Pamela Jayapal. And again, she's a very left-wing Democrat who I have not agreed with much of what she has to stand for. However, again, this is a nonpartisan issue, and the liberals and the conservatives have to come together on this one issue. But anyway, Miss Jayapal was holding up, or shall I say, on a great big diagram. She put it on an easel. And it was all of the victims' names that were being published. Now, they said that they were redacting the files to protect the victims, to get the victim's name out. And yet, all the victims' names were there. Here was an entire list, and there was only one name that had been blacked out. And yet, on the other documents that were from the perpetrators, they're blacking out their names. It's bass-ackwards. So Pam Bondi, I'm going to see if I can grab that clip for tomorrow's show, because this is just nuts, just crazy. So maybe this is 5D chess. Maybe this is exactly, they're playing it the way they have to play it, so people will start really paying attention. I don't know. One thing I do know is that this is an amazing time to be alive. We should thank God Almighty that we are able to witness the collapse of a structure that has been in place for not just decades, not just centuries, but millennia. This is what's happening. We're talking about the demolition and the deconstruction, the destruction of a disgusting, vile, satanic group of people. For finally now the light is being shown on them, and the world is waking up, and it has to happen. And I'm glad to be a witness to it. But one thing you have to be absolutely positive about, and that is we have to get centered. We have to pray. Yeah, there is no gray area, folks. There's no fence to stand on. You're either in the light or in the darkness. And keep in mind that one candle, one flame can light up an entire room of darkness. So be the flame. Stand in the light. Pray to God for the strength for what's coming. Anyway, that said, it's going to wrap it up for today's Wednesday Hump Day. Don't be a chump and crump day version of the WTF Reports. I'm glad to have you as a listener. If you're enjoying the program, click like, share, subscribe, and word of mouth, folks. Tell everybody. And support us with our advertisers. Make a donation, if you will. Buy some merch. I'm not into making tons of money, but, I mean, we got to pay the bills here anyway. Anyway, that said, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. Thank you for your participation. And God bless you all. Stay safe. Stay free, and I'll see you tomorrow.